Hello and welcome to Ace the English Hub. Last week we discussed what syntax is and also looked at one of the tools for syntactic analysis, that is IC analysis. In this video we'll be addressing the second tool, phrase structure grammar. These tools help you to analyze sentence structures. The early works of Noam Chomsky helped IC analysis become a fully developed method for analyzing sentence structures. In 1957, Chomsky published a book called Syntactic Structures, which first introduced the term phrase structure grammar. Phrase structure grammar devised a grammar in which the syntactic elements of a language are defined using rewrite rules that specify their smaller constituents. To explain this idea in simple words, let's go into detail about a few items we discussed in our previous video. We said that there are two types of word classes, open classes and closed classes or function words. We have no doubts here in the open class category, but I added a few new words in the closed class category. In addition to pronoun, conjunction, and preposition, I added types like determiners, auxiliary, quantifiers, and the interrogatives. Let's see what these are in detail. This will help you understand phrase structure grammar and the following lessons in syntax better. Determiners consist of articles, demonstratives, possessives, and quantifiers. Auxiliaries include the different forms of be and models. Here is a list of quantifiers. Interrogatives are question words. Okay, so coming back, we were talking about how in phrase structure grammar, the syntactic elements of a language are defined by means of rewrite rules specifying smaller constituents. To understand this better, look at the sentence we saw in our last video. The dog sleeps under that big tree. We saw that this sentence contains the following word classes. Now, words don't get put into sentences on a one-by-one basis. Instead, they combine together in certain ways to form phrases, and the phrases combine to form clauses and sentences. As the term indicates, phrase structure grammar looks at the phrases. Phrases are intermediate constituents in between sentences and words. Let's see why we say that words are not arranged on a one-by-one basis in a sentence. Take a look at this sentence. We know the words here are determiner or an article, noun, verb, and again a determiner and a noun. Now what if I say cat the killed rat the? Now the order became noun, determiner, verb, noun, and determiner. And we have an ungrammatical sentence. Why do we say that? A user of the English language knows that the determiner always comes before a noun. We have determiner plus noun that always comes in this order, and we call it a noun phrase. Hence, we can say that a noun phrase consists of a determiner and a noun. This can be represented in this manner. Now, this is not the only way in which noun phrases are formed. Noun phrases can have nouns or pronouns standing alone. They can also have the combination of determiner plus adjective plus noun, or determiner plus a noun plus a prepositional phrase, or even another noun phrase and a clause. Now, what does this symbol mean? As per phrase structure rules, this symbol denotes that the elements on the left is separated into the two constituents mentioned on the right. So NP is separated into the constituents of determiner, adjective, and noun. Now what is the common element you see in all of them? It is a noun. We see that the noun phrase cannot be formed without a noun. Hence, we can say that the noun is the head of the noun phrase. Now, the head can stand on its own or can have modifiers to go with it. Look at this phrase, the cat. Here, the determiner the is a modifier. This modifier comes before the head and we call it a pre-modifier. See this phrase, cat on a mat. Now, this noun phrase consists of something after the head noun. That is a post modifier. A noun phrase can have modifiers on both sides too. The cat on a mat. Now there is a pre-modifier and a post-modifier. So we talked about noun phrases. There are 4 more types of phrases possible in a sentence. They are verb phrase, adjectival phrase, adverb phrase, and prepositional phrase. We have already seen noun phrases. Now, what are some of the combinations that a verb phrase can have? We can have a verb phrase with a verb and a noun phrase. We can have with a verb and a prepositional phrase, a verb and another sentence or a clause, verb and an adverb, and just a verb alone. We see that verb is the head here. Let's see one example of a verb phrase that has both pre and post modifiers. Here, kicked is the verb. We have an adverb as a pre-modifier and a noun phrase as post-modifier. How do we represent this as per phrase structure rules? Yes, a phrase can have another phrase inside it. Let's see an adjectival phrase. Quite happy with the result. Check the head and the modifiers. See the constituents of the phrase. Now let's see an adverb phrase. Adverb phrase can have a degree and an adverb in it. See the examples. Now, what are prepositional phrases? Prepositional phrases have a preposition at its head and an NP. That is a noun phrase. See the example. Here, in is the preposition, and this prepositional phrase also consists of a noun phrase, the room. Let's see how these are formulated in phrase structure rules. A phrase structure grammar analyzes utterances in terms of its syntactic constituents. It contains a set of rules called phrase structure rules or rewrite rules. Rewrite rules provide a set of directions which will generate an abstract framework of basic sentences. A rewrite rule shows how a symbol is expanded. For instance, this rule here means rewrite noun phrase as determiner plus noun. In the book Syntactic Structures, Chomsky gives the following examples. A sentence can be rewritten as a noun phrase plus a verb phrase, which is the first rule. The noun phrase can have a T plus N, or T can also be said as determiner because that's a term that we learned. So a noun phrase can have a determiner plus noun, which is the second rule. A verb phrase can have a verb plus noun phrase, the third rule. Determiner can have any determiner. Noun can be any noun that we have in a lexicon, and verb can be any verb that we have in a lexicon. That becomes rules 5 and 6. Let's take Chomsky's own example and see the rules. Let's keep Chomsky's example in hand. The man hit the ball. So here we have the sentence. Now, as per the rule 1, a sentence consists of a noun phrase and a verb phrase. Now, this corresponds to rule number 1. The noun phrase can be written as determiner plus noun plus verb phrase, which is derived based on the second rule. Likewise, see how the rules are written here based on Chomsky's general example. Did you notice how only one item is rewritten in each line? Now, each of these lines is called strings. These strings are derived by one of the instruction formulas given earlier. Only one item in the string is rewritten in each step in order to derive the next. The last line is called the terminal string. We can represent this derivation by means of a tree diagram too, just like in IC analysis. We already told you that phrase structure grammar helped IC analysis develop into a fully developed form. We see that the tree has different layers of branching. A tree can have one or more branches. Every point in a tree where there is a branch is called a branching node. A node that can be further divided is called a non-terminal node. A node at the very end of the tree which cannot be divided further is called a terminal node. A node above a particular node is called a mother node, and the node below is called a daughter node. For example, noun phrase or NP is the mother node and determiner and nouns are the daughter nodes of NP. Now the nodes that come in the same line are called sister nodes. Determiner and noun are sister nodes. Yes, there are only women in these family trees. Phrase structure grammar can be used for generating new sentences or for parsing an existing sentence. Parsing means to resolve into its component parts and describe their syntactic roles. Let's take a simple phrase structure rule and create a new sentence using words from our vocabulary. We'll draw this in a tree diagram as this. Sentence, noun phrase and verb phrase. Noun phrase consists of determiner and noun, and verb phrase consists of verb and noun phrase. And again we have the noun phrase which is divided. You always start a rule with the S and you stop when all the individual elements are listed. See that with these constituents, I can form any number of sentences. Now with parsing, we analyze the syntactic structure of a sentence. Let's take this sentence. The man hugged the monkey. Determine the constituents, then find out their categories and group them based on the rules. Before we end today's video, let's phrase one more sentence with the help of phrase structure grammar. Let's draw a tree diagram and write down the phrase structure rules of the sentence. The dog sleeps under that big tree. This sentence can be rewritten as noun phrase plus verb phrase. Now the noun phrase has a determiner and a noun, and the verb phrase consists of verb and a prepositional phrase. And the prepositional phrase consists of a preposition and a noun phrase. And the noun phrase again consists of a determiner and a noun phrase again. And this noun phrase now consists of an adjective and a noun. Yes, it's a long process. This kind of structural description assigned by a phrase structure grammar is in fact a constituent structure analysis of the sentence. That is all for today. Our next video under linguistics and phonetics will be on transformational generative grammar. See you next week. Like, share and subscribe if you find our content useful. Thank you.